Welcome to the Lean Blog Podcast. Visit our website at www.leanblog.org. Now, here's your host, Mark Graban.
Hi, this is Mark Graban from the Lean Blog. This is episode number 68 for June 19th, 2009. Our guest today is CEO of a company called Kaysun. His name is Benjamin G. Harrison. It's great to have him here because it's not often we have the president of a company here to talk about Lean. Kaysun is a company privately held, over 6 years old, that designs and manufactures high-tolerance plastic injection molded parts and assemblies. And in his role as the CEO, Ben is the champion for Kaysun's Lean strategy and efforts, and today we'll discuss his support for Lean in his company. So again, our guest here on the Lean Blog podcast is Ben Harrison. He is Chief Executive Officer of Kaysun Corporation in Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me. Read about the blog and certainly am interested in participating in the Q&A.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you taking time out, and certainly curious to hear your company's story and your story with Lean. Want to also congratulate you for some of the Supplier awards you've won from Rockwell Collins, and I was wondering if you could, maybe tell us about that, introduce us to Kaysun, and how your company or yourself got started with Lean.
Sure, be happy to. Well, Kaysun is a privately held company that specializes in critical products. We are a plastics injection molding firm. That's our core process. We have been in business for over 60 years. Our primary markets are defense, industrial, automotive, and medical. And we recently received two awards from Rockwell Collins recently at their awards conference, and one of them being the Lean Manufacturer of the Year award. And received that for the work that we've done with Rockwell Collins over the last couple of years and various Lean projects that we've completed for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. I'm sure there's some stiff competition for that within their supplier base. So how long have you and the company been working with Lean, would you say? How can you tell me a little bit about your journey?
I would say it's been roughly 5 years, since we, started along the journey in Lean manufacturing. And, we started like most manufacturing firms. I mean, there's been a tremendous amount of buzz about Lean manufacturing in written trade journals and publications. And, we have several options here in the state of Wisconsin with respect to technical colleges, and there was a technical college here close to our facility that had a Lean manufacturing kind of introduction program, and that was something that we sent several of our executives to just to kind of get educated on Lean manufacturing, and that was pretty influential in the journey for us, and we saw the benefits of it and felt that it was something that we wanted to pursue and implement within our company.
And how would you describe some of the successes or the benefits that you've had from that Lean work?
Well, I think I would say our first real success was we did a 5S project. We have a major our inventory system for all of our tools and dies was such that we had I guess there was close to 100 molds that were in our inventory that weren't being used, and really there was no need for us to have them taking up space, and so we put forth a multi-disciplinary approach to this 5S project, where myself and some other additional managers and various job functions within the company all participated in this event, and it took about a week, but we cleared out our entire tooling mezzanine and got rid of basically all the molds that were no longer in service, and put in a inventory system and a organization system to make the identification and movement of injection molds much more seamless than what was in place originally. So it was a very eye-opening experience for the company, and it was a very visible improvement. And so I think that was probably what really got us started from the standpoint of we took that and then we moved into other areas of our company, and it kept on going.
Okay, so there was that early success that kind of got people's attention in terms of some of the possibilities, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it was a success from the standpoint of a lot of different people within the company were involved from different functions, and it was also something that was very visible. I mean, you could see the before and after. It was quite a quite a visible improvement, and that really, I think that, anybody that had any experience of the way things were, they saw that, the results of what took place, and, there was a level of, I guess, it was, it generated tremendous results that were impactful right away.
Mm-hmm. And, moving forward from that, from the executive CEO perspective, what has that lean activity translated to? Curious how would you articulate the benefits of lean from your perspective if you're talking to the owners of the company, employees, customers, different groups like that?
I think the primary benefit is it enables your employees to get a very good handle of that waste exists in all facets of the company, and when it is pointed out as such through a lean manufacturing process, you're very able to identify when waste exists in other processes, and so it kind of is it gains momentum in terms of the pursuit of reducing waste. And so I think that is something that clearly, from a cultural standpoint, seems to take hold. Once you gain some traction in lean manufacturing, you find areas like in your administrative functions where there's a litany of reports that are created, and you look at them and ask, okay, which ones are being read, which ones are useful, and you start doing things that have good application in areas of your company that you would typically not consider lean manufacturing targets.
Okay, so you've taken it out of the kind of just the traditional lean production standpoint. Would you say it's kind of a goal to be a quote unquote lean enterprise, to use those methods where they're helpful?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I again, that whole approach is, once you get some successes under your belt, you can begin to approach different areas of your company, and see that waste exists, and then try to eliminate it.
Yeah. And I know you're privately held, so we won't ask or talk about specifics. But when you look from a financial standpoint, have you been able to measure positive benefit from the lean activity?
We have. I mean, we track many key performance indicators, and with respect to waste and reductions in waste, scrap, overtime, rework, all those areas have been going down year over year as a result of our lean manufacturing efforts, and so there's certainly bottom line impact to what we've done.
Well, good. What would you say, looking back at the years you've been involved with this? It's fair to say, lean's not an easy methodology to implement in any organization. That it's can be challenging. What would you say have been some lessons learned along the way of that time?
I would say the biggest lesson that I've learned, we we had a lean, champion within our company that was, he was, his specific responsibility was to facilitate and lead lean projects. And I found that he was ineffective initially if senior management wasn't involved with the projects from the get-go. I mean, you need to have somebody that has sanction to really pull people together and make things happen. And if you don't have, like I said, some level of sanction with who's in charge, then there's not as much progress made. So, and it truly has, for it to gain traction within the organization, there has to be support from the top of the company and active involvement. Otherwise, you just won't. You will see progress, but not as dramatic.
Sure. Can you give an example of maybe that active participation from yourself or other senior executives? How does that support translate into? What does that translate into?
Just basically rolling up your sleeves and being a team member of the project, and getting some of your, getting your hands a little dirty, and doing things that you typically don't do in a work day, for a typical executive. So, and that's all the fun of it too, because you do something that is very different from your typical day, and you also are able to gain some level of rapport with employees that you might not have that much exposure to, and it's overall just a very positive experience.
Yeah, the idea of rolling up your sleeves and as they say, going to the Gemba and participating firsthand. That's something that's normally preached as a big component of a lean style of leadership in a lot of organizations. And in your time working with lean, how would you say that the lean concepts or methods or things that you may have learned, has that helped change the way that you or any of the senior leadership team have managed or led people or led the organization, either day to day or over the long term?
Certainly. I mean, one area that we've applied lean principles is in new product introductions. In the past, we haven't had a tremendous amount of forethought into how we can reduce waste before we actually are in production, and we actually spend quite a bit of time on that now. Before we're even producing a product, we will go through some simulations to find out, okay, where is the potential waste within the process, and try to eliminate that before it even becomes an issue. So that's something that clearly was, again, a result of kind of going through the lean transformation and trying to apply some of the lean principles to different areas of our business.
Okay. Final question for you. I mean, I know we have a varied mix of people in the listening audience here, but since we got the opportunity here, speaking with you as a CEO, if our audience were just CEOs of privately held manufacturing companies, what advice would you give CEO to CEO about why they should be interested in lean, or from their perspective, what the main opportunities would be?
I would say that they should be interested in lean if they're serious about profitable growth, because companies that are not embracing lean manufacturing are going to be left behind. So just from the standpoint of the long-term viability of your organization, if you don't have lean principles in place and a culture that drives to reduce waste and continuously improve your processes, you're going to be left behind. So it is something where it's not an overly complicated process and system to understand. It's not something that is, very esoteric. It's pretty black and white. It has a lot of very practical principles. So, there's no reason why anybody that's in a CEO capacity couldn't, understand and grasp and apply the lean manufacturing in their company.
Mm-hmm. And and I appreciate what you were saying earlier too about the role of senior leadership in participating and driving and making sure that that lean is going to be successful.
Absolutely, and that is key. I mean, again, that from our standpoint, we saw that having senior leadership involved drove things that much quicker, and that's just generally the case for any initiative or any major change within the organization. If your top leadership team is supportive of it, the rest of the organization will follow.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, Ben. Ben Harrison, Chief Executive Officer of Kaysun Corporation. Again, congratulations on the lean success you've had so far and that recognition, and certainly wish you and the company continued success in the future. It's always great to hear about an American manufacturing company that's doing well and using methods like lean to drive your success.
It's my pleasure. Anytime.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Lean Blog Podcast. For lean news and commentary updated daily, visit www.leanblog.org. If you have any questions or comments about this podcast, email Mark at leanpodcast@gmail.com.